So an n-gon is more than four sides, more than a quad.
So if you put in a games engine with 5-sided, it'll just mess up.
It's going to triangulate it as.
Oh yeah, it will triangulate it.
We're going to triangulate, but it might get unpleasant results. It might get artifacts. So it's better if you do it here and you have all control. Yeah.
It's considered a lot cleaner.
Yeah. And
it simply just doesn't work in ZBrush.
Yeah, like ZBrush is kind of weird sometimes. It doesn't like n-gons. It can triangulate, but you saw what results. There was some clipping or some problems. And one here. Let's just do this one here as well. Even though I did the UVs, that that's not indicated. That's not very good. The UVs is the last thing you do. You don't change the topology. I think you can add triangles and stuff like that. Okay, I think we're good. And control 1. And export again file, export selection, SciFi create for ZBrush, replace it, go to ZBrush, import, quads and triangles. Is okay, yeah, looks okay. Let's just look at the polyframe. Looks good. So great. Now, yeah, George. Now we're here. Now, what we're gonna do? Normally, you want to divide this, but because we don't have subdiv, you see what's happening? Bang, bang, very ugly. Because we don't have that, we will have to use something called Dynamesh. Although, yeah, this might see there's a problem here. And because this is an n-gon, you see when it just it does this when I try to divide. I use Control D. Control D is adding divisions, it's adding geometry, yeah, so I can sculpt it. Because if I try to sculpt it, there's not enough geometry to sculpt. There's not enough polygons to sculpt. But we're not going to go this way because it requires a lot of work. It requires these to be rearranged, these edges here. And I don't want to go through that process right now. I just don't. It takes too much time. So let's just try to use this Dynamesh. So Dynamesh, if we press on it, it's just gonna fuse everything together. But the problem is that it's kind of too, the resolution is too small. It looks a bit lumpy. So I'm gonna reduce the blur to 0, increase the resolution to 600. I think Michael, your computer might have been better for this.
Yeah, you could always say that.
Because mine is just like, doesn't like it. Okay, so now we have these. Now we can actually go in here and smooth. See, I use shift and we can smooth these edges a little bit. And I think there was a way to just it's not so efficient this, but because otherwise when you're going to bake it, this is not going to be, it's not going to look, nice and rounded. So that's why just need to, or maybe we can do a polish. So let's just try and do a,
Do you have the AJ polish? for the bevels.
No, I only have the simple brushes. I don't have anything fancy in here.
Should put these brushes out so people can use them.
Yeah, we should do that. So let's just use trim dynamic. Oh no, what did I do? So B, T, and D. That is trim dynamic. So if you go here, and it's gonna add some sort of, like the box has been received some damage, and you can do that all day long. We're not gonna do it very professionally. We're not gonna take our time, but this is just for you guys to have a look and see how it is done.
It's good to sculpting the base dents and everything. And when you throw in substance, there's a lot of, if it's a realistic thing anyway, if you throw in substance, there's a lot of alphas and scratches you can apply to the metal.
Definitely, yeah.
But it's definitely good to start creating those big dents. Dents? Yeah, dents.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even need actually to use ZBrush, but
yeah, especially for hard surface. Substance is just so well done now, isn't it?
Yeah. But sometimes these dents can be they cannot be done otherwise, like these edge dents. So you can use a little bit of that shift to soften those edges.
So Lucian, if I may, right now you're working in ZBrush, but afterwards don't you need to take the box again in Maya and retopologize it?
No, because we already have the low poly version, which is UV'd already. So pretty much that version is the one that is going to end up in the game engine, and we're going to rip off the detail from this one and use that as a texture.
Because because Lucian's not going to change the shape too much, he's adding the details around it. You don't need to retopologize it again.
Yeah,
okay.
Only if I was just going crazy with
yeah.
And if you change it too much, is it going to clip through the textures?
If you change it too much, it'll,
for example,
get warped.
Something like this. That's too much, yeah. Like that's a change, but it's still gonna show up in the normal map, but
it won't literally stick out from the model.
It's not gonna look like that. So just try to stick with simple, small, medium, small.
Yeah, so as long as you don't make big changes, it's okay not to retopologize it.
Yeah, it's a lot more efficient what Lucian's doing because it skips a step, If you model the base, like if you have your design ready and you know what you want to design, and you've modeled the base, just do everything, all the details in ZBrush. You don't need to retopologize afterwards.
Can you also use this method for characters?
Depends. When you're modeling a character, you change it a lot in ZBrush, like the face shape, the clothes. Yeah, you can't really do it like that.
Yeah, when you talk about the character, that's another level because the character is very organic. Maya is not so good as making organic stuff. It is, but not powerful as ZBrush. So when you're making a character, you use ZBrush. You're gonna change the mesh around, like Michael said, many times probably.
Oh, and from what I know, after you make the sculpt in ZBrush, you port it in Maya or something like that, and you reduce the polygons.
Yeah, that's the case for characters. For a character, I'll definitely start straight away from ZBrush. I wouldn't create a base unless it's like, you know, bracelets or something hard to surface. I can bring it in from Maya.
Oh, some
Um,
assets for the character, yeah.
But the character itself, depending on what character it is, there's a program called Make Human. I don't know if you heard of it, but
No.
you know The Sims. You
Yeah.
know how you can create a character, make them short, or you can use sliders to create the base of your character to start sculpting it, and it saves a lot of time.
Oh, interesting.
And then you just
How's-
export OBJ.
What's it called? Make Humans?
Make Human. It's in the D drive and all the all the remote computers.
Oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
So you have it on ZBrush on the university computers, basically.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a nice thing that they added.
Let me
It's
see if I
like
can.
getting a base mesh, basically. It's not for having the actual character, you know, like finished. It's just like you get the base mesh, the anatomy, the proportions, and then you start actual sculpting on top of that. I don't think we're at that level where we can make a human from scratch. I mean, I tried. Trust me, it's hard.
Especially the hand.
Yeah, it's just like you need to be God. You understand? To sculpt a human like from scratch. No,
And
I
it's
mean
not really useful, right?
it is doable. There's a lot of base meshes on ArtStation. ArtStation is a good place if you want to sell your stuff for other artists. For example, you have tools, you develop tools, brushes for ZBrush, stuff like that, and you sell them on ArtStation. You're gonna make money there.
It's good to model a character from scratch. Like really detailed anatomy is good as a study for yourself to develop your observational skills. But when it comes to, let's say, if you had a job to sculpt an industry, you know, do as fast as you can. So anything to help you speed the process is a plus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're even doing they're scanning people now. So if you feel like your main career is to create realistic faces, and it's probably going to be overtaken by face scanning, 3D face scanning, which we actually have that in the university. If you want to have a sculpt of your
in the
face.
motion capture lab, right?
Nah, it's downstairs in the 3D printing.
Oh, yeah, I'm eager to try that out. Will we use it in the second year if the university opens?
Something you have to book.
Oh,
Yeah,
but isn't there a class like that shows us how to use one?
well, I might be actually taking over that because there was a 3D printing technician downstairs, and he left the university. So I might be bringing the whole thing. Me and Johnny, who's the VFX technician, bring it upstairs next to G110 and the motion capture room.
Oh,
It's
that sounds great.
It's like a very small room there.
So you're gonna
Could
put
change.
stuff there in that room?
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
we're gonna change it into like just loads of cameras, like 20 cameras, and you just stand there, standing still, and it'll create a 3D model of you with the texture actually.
Anyway, so I think I don't have. I'm just sculpting with a mouse, so you can imagine that this is not so great. I'm not having any pressure sensitivity. Anyway, let's just say it's done. So what we need to do now, we go to subtool. Everything is in one subtool. And what we want to do now is we have this very like we have 2.4 million polygons. That's quite a lot. So we need to reduce this, and we're going to use this Z plugin called Decimation Master. I'm going to reduce it to 250,000. Click on it. It's going to take some time. So take a nap and grab yourself a coffee or something.
Yeah, when this tool came out, it's just amazing because we had no way of making a high polygon model low poly very fast, quick and quickly. So every time we were to model in ZBrush and try to bring it into Maya, it's just too many polygons for Maya. But now we can do it. Decimation Master basically keeps the same shape of your model, but drastically reduces the amount of polys there are.
Yeah, I think you need a good computer for this. I mean, do it faster.
Still waiting.
Yeah, I told you my computer is old. Yeah, that's good. So that's how it's gonna look like now. And now let's just take this and export it. So export SciFi Crate for baking. Close this. So this one for ZBrush is no longer required. Can go away. Now we're going to use this for baking, and I need to export this for texturing. But it's going to be an FBX. One for texturing, one for baking. That's what we need. Yeah, we need a low poly one that we UV'd in Maya, and we need a high poly one with details from ZBrush. Substance Painter. And I think this is like a crash course for most of you guys, but don't worry, we're just gonna take it slowly in the.
It's very beneficial as a recap, especially for second years as well.
So
Well, first years, there's going to be a big project in ZBrush soon, isn't there? For the first years.
So we're just gonna make a new. We're gonna say 2048. And export for export SciFi Crate for texturing. That's the one. We don't do anything here. Just click OK.
Oops, sorry.
So
My face.
in here we just use the same, navigation like in Maya. Alt right click, alt middle, alt left. I'm gonna get rid of my 2D. I only need the 3D one. So that is great. Now, the first thing when you get in here, we need to bake. So in here, in the texture set settings, we get this bake mesh maps. So you need to bring all the high definition mesh. Yeah, so just find that one, and it's this one for baking, and that's pretty much it. and bake. Yeah. So basically, if you look at, I think wireframe, so display settings here, there's this mesh wireframe. You can see we have the low poly mesh wireframe, and we've done the baking, and everything seems to be okay, right? I mean, the ZBrush part could have been better. We could have let's just bake another time, but this time we're going to bake only the normal map, and we're going to bake it 4K. Yeah, so we're going to leave everything, disable everything, and we're going to bake the normal map to 4K and bake selected textures. Okay, and I think we're getting better results now. Let's just disable the wireframe. Great. So now recap in Substance Painter, right? Let's just do a recap in Substance Painter. Now what we need to get the base color, we need to color palette. So we need to find two base colors. Okay, where is it? Oh, here. No, yeah, I was looking for the layer. So basically this is like in Photoshop, they change it to look like Photoshop. They just put it on the left side, and we just need a fill layer, right? So now we can paint on the mesh like that. Control Z to go back, and it's going to paint on this layer. But what we want to add a fill layer. A fill layer is going to cover everything. It's going to cover the surface, and we can change that color on the right here. Properties fill. We can change the color. So we're just going to make it like a red, not so saturated. I just need two or three different colors, and we're gonna try red and gray. I think let's just have a look at those references. So we had green, and here we had this one was full red, this one was gray, yellow, this one was full metallic. So we can have white and red, maybe white and red should be fine, with metallic pieces. So in here, in the material here on the shelf, we get materials, and all these materials, they're basically fill layers, right? But they're changed a little bit, so they have different parameters changed. And you can get more of these in, I think it's called Substance Share or Substance Source. One of them is Substance Source, and the other one is Substance Share website. So if you click on this, it's going to send you there. Make an account, and you'll find a lot of materials to download for free. Right, so you can have different types of metals, and pick the ones that you like and download them, and then you just need to drag and drop them in here. This is a custom, for example, this is a custom material, and I can just drag and drop them, drag and drop it here. And right now it looks a bit like all over the place, but it's because it's using this projection. It needs to be triplanar projection. And you have all these parameters. I don't see the parameters not working very well, to be honest. You cannot change this. Anyway, we'll just delete this one. So that was just an example. So let's just make a metallic layer. So add a fill layer. I'm going to put the fill layer beneath the paint, or let's just leave it on top so we can see it right now. And we want to go here in the properties field, and we change the metallic to full 1. Yeah, and then we have this roughness, how rough we want it or how shiny. Yeah. So, or we can just drop here an image. We can drop something like a procedural texture. And we have here some grunge maps, grunge dirt scratchy. So we just try and drag and drop this in here. And you can see it changed our roughness with leaks. Yeah, you just we can experiment with different stuff. Contrast, balance, how much do we want? And I'm thinking where we should have maybe the handles should be metallic. Or maybe the stop
Rubber.
What? Oh, the rubber. Yeah, you're right. Maybe we should have those as rubber. Or maybe just use it as an underlying to reveal the damage, where they're going to have edge wear and scratches. We're going to reveal the metal in those areas. So yeah, that's good. So we have the roughness. Now let's just see if we can have some sort of height. And the height works kind of in a similar way. So we use grunge leak spots. And we put the same in there. But I think it's too much. So I don't really like it, how it's kind of too obvious. So I'm going to remove it from the height. I try to use the same map for the height. But I'm going to leave it. I'm going to skip height for now. And the base color, we can change the base color as well. But it's not helping. So let's just leave it like that for now. And the same, change this to triplanar. Instead of UV projection, change it to triplanar. And basically, UV projection is applying this color information or everything, the material information on each UV tile. And you can see some seams in here. Here is like a cut, because here the auto UV did a cut there. Yeah, here as well we have a cut, and if we change it to triplanar, it's going to try and project that. And maybe you can increase the scale a little bit. I think the UVs for the handles are not good because I see there's some stretching in there, and no matter how many times I tile, that's why it's good to do your own UVs. So let's just leave this as 1. Great, so now we have base metal. So we covered the color, we covered the roughness, not so much height. So we take this fill layer, we put it on top. And also this is perfect paint. It's like it has been just painted right now. There's no variation in color and roughness or anything, so we want to take care of that. So let's just use these, put this inside the roughness and change this as well to triplanar. Okay. Okay, I think this one's better. Scratches. Invert. Let's invert this. Yeah. So I invert it, and now just okay. So about the color, if we want to change the color, we need to add different fill layers on top of each other and mask them out. I'm going to show you how to do that. So for example, this one, we want to reveal something that's behind, you know, beneath. Like we said that the metal, we want to reveal the metal beneath. So we're gonna add a black mask or a white mask. If you add a white mask, it doesn't do anything. If you add a black mask, it's blocking everything. So we're just gonna add a mask, no matter which one. Right clicking and add a white or a black mask. Yeah. Then we go here and we add a generator. So we select the mask and we add a generator on the mask, right? The generator is on while I had the mask selected. And this generator is, let's just go to generators. Smart mask, they're called smart masks. And these are isolating, they're using the maps, the height map, the ambient occlusion and everything that we baked in the normal map, and it's trying to find the occluded spaces and the edges. Yeah, so you see there's an edge here, there's an edge strong, so it's trying to find the edges. So let's just use edge strong for now. Yeah, so just drag and drop this inside the generator. Oh no, that was on the mask. So if we just stick and put it here, yeah, it's gonna be applied to that mask. Okay, that was one. Or we just select the generator and we go to generator and we click on mask builder. So now the mask builder, oh, it says mask builder legacy, so I'm just going to remove it. I think it's mask editor. Yeah. So global balance, global contrast. So now we just need to tweak these. Ambient occlusion. Global contrast. And now it's trying to find the edges. Yeah. So I had to use this invert. So you use the mask editor to build your own. So let's just go to procedurals and find some scratches. background scratches. I'm just going to put it inside the texture. And now I need to see where's the texture opacity. And that texture is going to add some variation. But it might be, you know, way too much. So you can just tone that down. It depends if it's come from Fallout or post-apocalyptic world, you know. Yeah, stuff like that. I think it might be too much, to be honest. Just anyway, let's keep on going. So that was one. And you know what we can do? We can add some height. And we can add a little bit of height to the paint. So we go, if I go to the paint, and if I go to height here, I can increase that height. And it looks like the paint is on top. On top of the, it's too much, I think. Needs to be very subtle. Okay. Let's just add a sticker or something. The top, just make this top panel. We said that we want this to be a screen. Make this a metal. So I'm just going to make this top bit a metal, a different metal. If you have a different idea, let me know. So I'm just going to put aluminium on top. Okay, aluminium here. And I think it's too flat. And I think this point 0.01 was too much. If we go to the channel, pressing C, you can see the roughness, you can see the metallic, the normal plus height. If you go to M, you go back. Shift right click, you can rotate the lights around the environment. And you can also paint. So if you want, we can add a paint. We go here to the mask, we click on this, I don't know what this is, and add paint. Then we change a brush and we pick maybe dirt 2. Control right click to scale down. And I think we're painting with white. Yeah, should. Oh no, it's inverted. Let me paint with black. So you can just paint and add, you know, scratches of your own. And you know, if you have a Wacom tablet or something, it's much faster and gonna look much better. we can add let me see if I add a filter, not a filter, a fill layer. So I select the mask, I add a fill layer, and on that fill layer I put a procedural scratches, this one, scratches rough, and I need to invert this. I need to scale to set to 2, triplanar as well. And I think it's too, you know, even. How about if I multiply this? Overlay. Yeah, I need to set this to multiply, so multiplying is just going to add it on top of the other one. I think you can see it here. You know, that's the mask editor that we built. That's the procedural one, and this is our scratches, and we can reduce the intensity of these scratches if you want to, so they're less noticeable. Maybe the scale is too. Okay, so let's just add some rubber to the handles now. Materials. I think if we don't have one, we can just make our own. So add a fill layer, make it black, complete black. Looks good, the box looks good black. Maybe we can make it, change the color of the box. Okay, that is one, and then we need to add a black mask. And now we need to let it know that we want to fill. I'm going to use this polygon fill, and we want to fill the whole object, and we know that this is a different object, so I clicked on it, and now this is black. This is a different object, and this is a different object as well. They're all black. Then the benefit is that we can just change the color on the fly, you know. And the thing about height is that I don't want height here. So before it was linear, I think it was linear dodge add, and I don't know if you can see it, but I had some edge detail in here, and we don't want that. I don't want that here, so I'll change this to normal, and I'm no longer going to have that defects in here. How about if we want to add some height? This one. Yeah, you can see it here, like the UVs on these handles is so bad that you just want to so let's just say I want this screen to be black, but I want this to be metallic maybe. So I'm gonna make this slightly shiny, so reduce this roughness. Okay, it's gonna look quite specular. I'm gonna make another one, another fill layer, and this is gonna be it's gonna be a different metal. Add the black mask again, and we want to use the same polygon fill and change this to polygon, and everything, well, not everything, it's kind of and then I need to press X. It's going to remove everything that we selected on the bottom. So X is just inverse. Don't know about this color, but anyway, let's just add a sticker or something in here. So we're gonna make a new paint layer. And we're gonna use this projection. And I have this thing called motor oil. It's a square texture, basically. It's 1024 by 1024, and I used it on another project, or maybe you can use this one. Let's see. So let me see how it's working. Okay, good. So basically this is, I think it's a square texture as well. It's with alpha map. So basically in Photoshop, you know, you can delete the background and stuff like that. So we're using a simple layer, paint layer. We're using projection, and I added this to the base color. Okay. And we're just gonna do this. Then we can use X. Is it working with X? I think we need to use the eraser if we want to get rid of something. I'm just going to reduce the opacity. I'm just going to take a break. I think it's
Yeah,
fine. Yeah, we can continue after this. So we're just going to take a break. 1 hour is it for lunch?
yeah, back at you guys.
I'm going to see you at 2.